thank you for joining me today. Would you like to start by just introducing yourself and telling us a bit about what you do?
Yeah, so my name is Carlo Vidal Miranda. I am originally from Peru. I am currently studying my MBA at the University of Sheffield, and I'm a digital marketing consultant.
Great, thank you. Um, so, in your professional experience as a digital marketing consultant, what do you think are some of the challenges that young people are facing today online?
Well, in terms of challenges that they're facing online, I would say that the main one would probably be cyberbullying.
Hmm.
I'm only 25, so when I was growing up, let's say that bullying in Peru was quite common.
Hmm.
However, when Facebook was created, I was probably only 9 to 10 years old, and that's when we got introduced to a new wave of bullying, which is called cyberbullying. So I would say, which basically was what was happening in the classrooms, replicated online, right?
Hmm.
So I would say that for a younger audience, that's probably the main problem. Also, another problem that many like youngsters don't realize is their sharing of data.
Hmm.
They probably don't realize to what extent they're sharing the data and how like patterns can be identified from their behavior, whether the way that they navigate through the web or by selecting that they express interest in certain items or events or so on.
So, about how companies are using data, why do you think that is an issue, and why is it something that young people should be concerned about?
Well, it's not an issue per se, but I would definitely say that there are some implications of things that can happen
Hmm.
because obviously in the past with big companies like Facebook, there's been leakages that has vastly affected the people that they use Facebook. Um, so because of these leakages, many like much sensible information um, can be like acquired by other companies. Also, we need to bear in mind that many of these data gathering organizations they also sell their data to third parties, right? Because of that, there's not really much control
Mm.
that can be enforced. Obviously, ethics play a major role in here, but if I'm an advocate of the devil, we also need to acknowledge the potential risk that this causes.
Hmm. So, when companies are selling our data to third parties, what is it you mean by that? So, where is our data going, and what is it being used for?
So, for instance, it can be used for product development, for product launches, in order to identify behaviors of people that meet a certain demographics. So, let's say that a specific company wants to um, like launch a product that it caters to males that are between 20 to 25 years old. Then this means that they can probably buy this data from the same demographics and then identify the patterns that they can do that they can follow in order to conduct a better launch of their products.
Hmm. Okay. And so, is there anything that we can do in our settings that can prevent the buying
Yes,
of our data?
yes, definitely. First, you can always use ad blockers.
Yeah.
Like the best ones, they cost, but if you really appreciate and value your data, then it's a sensible like investment to be made.
Mm.
Another option is to make sure, like on the settings, that you always constantly selecting where you want your data to be stored. If possible, always try to read the terms of conditions of like when you allow cookies to be tracked, because sometimes you can actually deselect certain cookies that are not needed for you to have a good experience on the website.
Mm.
Which sometimes you by only having the essential cookies, you can navigate just fine. It's usually the optional ones that contain this tracking. So it's just a matter of taking the time of actually
Mm.
reading through the settings, deactivating anywhere where it's necessary. Because the good thing is that with GDPR, there's actually far more control on the data that you put out, but at the same time, it's up to oneself.
Yeah. So, I guess, I mean, for a lot of people, I think when you're online, you just click accept because
Yeah.
it's easier. And I wouldn't. necessarily know what to look out for. If there was any like alarm bells or things that you think, maybe I shouldn't accept everything. I think it's quick and easy to just go, yep, accept, and
Exactly.
it's not
Yeah.
very well known for people to actually like read into these things.
And the ironic part is, for instance, when you go onto a new website and it says that you need to accept the cookies in order to navigate it,
Yeah.
when you select accept all the optional ones, you will actually look at it. You can actually read which cookies are the ones that are tracking specific information. But you're right, most people, including myself at times, probably, we just go on and just accept it because of it's
Mm.
quicker, as you say. Yeah. But it's a matter of like self-awareness as well.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So what do you think could be done in terms of like education to help get the message out there a little bit more and help people to understand how our data is being used and how we can be more aware
I
of
feel
protecting
that
ourselves?
ideally, I feel that this is something that should definitely be taught at schools,
Mm.
just to ensure like that people are aware of the data of what data means as well, because many people they neglect it. They feel that, oh no, I mean, I'm just letting Facebook know that I like this and that, but actually so much more can be achieved with that information, that sometimes people just they feel it's too far-fetched, but in reality it isn't, especially with machine learning and that data analytics. That is there are fields that are constantly growing as well. So I would
Mhm.
say that courses should be the main educational tool that they should be used, and they should be mandatory, so that
Mhm.
people cannot later complain that they're being exposed.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so that's
Mhm.
something that you think should be taught at schools
Definitely,
at a young age.
100%. Because I mean, eh, let's face it, most people, when now in the ages of 7, 8, they already have a Facebook. Uh,
Mm.
so this is something that needs to be dealt with.
Mhm. Okay, thank you for that. That's interesting. Um, so are there any sites like I know that in the news Facebook is one of the and TikTok are sort of one of the two um big companies that are sort of accused of using our data. But is it kind of like across all social media platforms that this is something that's used and it's not just, or is there some that use our data more than others, and how can we be sort of more aware of
I
that?
would say that every data, every like social network actually shares the data, because by like being honest, advertising is their main form of income for this
Mm,
company. I mean, basically what they do is they allow you to navigate on their website for free,
yeah.
but in return they're sharing your data, so that then when companies want to uh like carry on advertising campaigns, they can then find the most adequate campaigns, the most adequate targeting for the company that that are advertising. Is basically the way that the model is set. So obviously, the companies that have the larger quantity of users are the ones that one should be more aware of, like um, LinkedIn, Facebook,
Mm.
TikTok, and Twitter. Yeah,
Okay, so it's mainly used for to sell you products essentially is what
exactly.
it's used
Yeah,
for.
or services. Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, that's interesting. And I read some as well that um it's part of what makes social media addictive because it uses like TikTok, for example, uses your data to create an algorithm that you'll like, basically.
Exactly.
So I
And
guess, yeah.
at the same time, it's a magnificent tool to measure intent. Because
Mm,
for instance, let's say that you Google like, I don't know, like motorbikes,
yeah.
then Google's machine learning algorithm already like assumes that you're probably looking like to buy a motorbike, so then you get shown ads about motorbikes and so on. It's the same process altogether. Yeah.
Hmm. So it's not necessarily that the phones are listening to you.
Yeah,
Because
no, not at all. It's
it's
just the patterns. Like for instance,
mm,
remember that YouTube is owned by Google. So if you're looking for like motorbike reviews,
Yeah.
then by doing so, Google can already tell that you're perhaps looking for a motorbike, right?
Hmm. Right. Okay. And one of my last questions is, if you were to give a piece of advice to a young person today about
Mhm,
using the internet safely and protecting yourself online, and
mhm.
what's like one of the key messages that you'd want them to take away?
I would say that never allow the predetermined cookies.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
when you enter a new website, always make sure that you click on Manage Preferences and
Hmm.
deselect the ones that are not necessary.
And how would you know which is the ones that are not necessary? Because I think that's part of the problem. People don't actually
Yeah,
know.
the thing is that the way GDPR is set, you need to mention which ones are the essential ones for the website to run, and then you get the optional ones. Obviously, by default, all of them are selected. So
Oh, okay.
simply by you deselecting the one that are optional, you'll be fine.
Right. Okay. So every
Mhm.
website has ones that you have to select
Yes,
to use the
exactly.
website.
There are some websites that are more transparent and they give you an option to just use the essential ones, but most of them they really don't. You need to click on manage preferences and then this manually deselect them, right? But it's this extra step, the one that can better protect your data.
Hmm. Okay. And that will be on, that's a setting that every website has on the manage, like you'll be able to do that
Yes,
on
at
every,
least like at least in Europe, yes. Mhm.
yeah.
Maybe in other jurisdictions it can change, but at least in Europe and in the UK, it's mandatory to include that.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Well, I think we'll leave it there. That was really insightful and
Oh, no,
helpful.
no worries. Thank you so much for having
Thank
me here.
you.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.